Even though the decisions of other conferences will not force the SEC's hand, according to Sankey, he admits it's unlikely that the league would still play football if it was the last conference standing. He also shot down speculation that other schools like Nebraska and Ohio State could jump ship to play SEC opponents. And Keith, as of this taping, the Pac-12 was set to make some sort of announcement. We can only guess what that was going to be, and probably also not a good one.
Yeah, to where probably a Power 5 is now down to a Power 3, and if it goes much more, it really is going to put too much pressure. I mean, it's like Sankey said, if they're the only ones standing, I think it'd be a bad look to go ahead and play. I think there'd be just too much pressure to not play and move it to the spring as well. So it's up to the ACC and the Big 12.
Yeah, just, it's hard. It's hard to imagine it. All right, the Big Blue Nation had been bracing for it, and today the New York Knicks confirmed that they are snatching up prized UK basketball assistant Kenny Payne. He'll take his first job in the NBA, becoming an assistant coach under new Knicks head coach Tom Thibodeau. Payne spent the last 10 seasons on the staff at UK under John Calipari, where he helped develop the talent of some of the best big men in the game. He worked with the likes of Anthony Davis, Karl Anthony Towns, both #1 draft picks. Now Payne tries to help turn around a franchise that has been struggling for years. Indiana assistant Bruiser Flint will join Coach Cal's staff to replace Payne. And Keith, that was almost a no-brainer. We knew if Kenny Payne would leave, it would be Bruiser Flint, because the two of them have been in lockstep since their days together at UMass. But boy, this is a huge loss for Kentucky.
It's a big one. He's a great recruiter, and not only that, they called him the big man whisperer, and he certainly helped develop some great talent at Kentucky that is making millions and millions of dollars in the NBA. What could be incredible is the fact that he goes up there and he has a chance to work with Kevin Knox, Julius Randle. How about maybe here in the next season or two, Devin Booker, Karl Anthony Towns? It could be a lot of fun up there in New York if they can get some of that done. And
you have to think that Cat and Booker are part of the reasons that Kenny Payne was brought on staff. But it is Kevin Knox's birthday. He was so excited that Kenny Payne is coming. He said that was the best birthday gift ever. All right, in other news, after making a recommendation for schools to delay in-person instruction until September 28th, Governor Beshear is explaining what he wants to see between now and then. The governor spoke with LEX 18's Claire Crouch today, saying it would be irresponsible to send teachers and students back into the classroom without the virus under better control.
So what we really need to see is our positivity rate come down. Now, right now, it is north of 5%. It was over 6% for a day or two last week. We need to get that certainly below 5. I'd like to get it closer to 4. And what that means is that the virus is not spreading as significantly and not as quickly throughout the community.
Beshear also spoke of potential changes he could foresee, like the thinning of class sizes or students attending classes on an A-B schedule. Keith, I don't know that every private school that has already made decisions to be back in class is going to follow this guidance, but I am hopeful that we can maybe all be back September 28th.
Oh, for sure. You mean in person?
Yes, in person.
Yeah, it would be great to have that chance because, for one, it would mean that we have that positivity rate way down. And you're right, it'd be great to see us in person rather than trying to do this thing online. We just know how difficult that was in the spring.
And we've seen in states like Georgia where they are now quarantining hundreds of staff and students because they tried to go full in person to start. So maybe we're learning from that too. Kentucky parents, by the way, are divided in their opinions on the governor's recommendation. Today, a group of families in Madison County showed their support for in-person learning. Parents and students stood outside of the district's main office with signs in support of starting the year with the classroom option. Other parents have said they'd rather have their kids safe at home. Keith, this is not going to end until the virus is gone, presumably.
Yeah, and we've talked about it before. We don't fault either side, no. Whether you want to start in person or whether you want to start at home, because we all have different feelings about everything that's going on. But it's now to the point where when the governor says, I think you ought to start later on, well, now, you're kind of forcing the hand. He didn't say we have to. He's saying, I think you should. And so now it's kind of getting some of these people out to try and push their side.
Yep. Meanwhile, Northern Kentucky Congressman Thomas Massie says he has tested positive for COVID-19 antibodies. The Republican out of the 4th Congressional District told Glenn Beck's radio show that he took both a coronavirus test and an antibodies test at the end of July and came up positive for the latter. Massie believes he had the virus in January before the scope of the pandemic was clear. Congress was still adjourned for the holidays at the time, and Massie says he laid on his couch for 4 days with a fever, sore throat, and low energy.
I went to the doctor. I hadn't been to the doctor for sickness in like 10 or 15 years. That's how sick I have to be to go to the doctor. And I said, look, I got to go back to Congress. Give me whatever you got. And they gave me a strong antibiotic shot and an antihistamine. And I was feeling better within a day.
Now Massie plans to donate his plasma. Today he weighed in on any COVID-19 vaccine that may come along, tweeting, it should be voluntary, not mandatory. And Keith, truly, like, a vaccine would be so great, but I'm going to need to see some data of its long-term possible effects.
Yeah, my wife and I actually had this conversation last night before I even knew we were going to be talking about something like this, and we were kind of like, I'd be a little bit leery myself once that comes out, just jumping all in on this. So yeah, I think I'd be a little concerned as well.
Yeah, I mean, it stands to reason. Vaccines don't always come out this quickly, and they're really pushing it through, which I understand, but may take some time.
Yeah.
Up next on Hey Kentucky, he used to display the Confederate flag on his car. Now a Wolfe County man advocates for the rights of African Americans. I'll talk with the founder of Rednecks for Black Lives when we return.